Hello and welcome to this brief video about how to format a works cited document using Microsoft Word. Depending on your version of Word, you might notice a little bit of a difference as far as the layout, but the directions are going to be more or less the same. You'll see that I have sources already pasted onto the document and that it's a little bit of a mess as far as formatting goes. However, this tutorial assumes that you've already done your research, gathered your sources, and you've completed a works cited entry for each. That is mostly correct. You can always look it over later. One thing to note is that Lackawanna College provides wonderful databases, including ProQuest and Sears Issues Researcher, which does the work for you, and you can simply paste the citation that is already made. Notice that sometimes ProQuest likes to paste a gray background, or sometimes the font gets a little mixed up. Which brings us to the first thing that we're going to do is put everything in our traditional MLA font. So I'm going to hit Control A to highlight everything. Go to my home page, home option, put it in MLA's Times New Roman, size 12. Going to make sure that it is black text. Make sure there's a white background. Get rid of any highlighting, and already that looks a lot better. The next thing you'll notice is that we have works cited all the way to the left. Our titles get centered, so simply highlight, go to home. Under the paragraph option, you'll see where you can justify your text, hit that middle one. Don't try guessing and hit tab. It's always best to start left and then hit the middle one. And it's tempting to make our title stand out, but we're going to make this just a boring Times New Roman 12, no bold, italics, no underline, no fun font, and so forth. The next, you'll see the order of our text. MLA requires that your works cited page is in alphabetical order, starting with the very first letter of the entry. So obviously here with our first two, you see that C comes before M. I just simply cut that. So I just hit right click and cut. Go up before and hit right click and paste. Hit your first option and be very mindful that you're not changing the format. So see how depending on my paste options, I can change the format. Sometimes the italics and spacing gets messed up. Hit that first one. Okay, C comes before M comes before W. Okay, but I comes before M, so I do the same thing. I highlight, right click, cut. Go in between where I'm going to place it, right click, and I make sure that my paste doesn't mess up the formatting. There we go. So speaking of formatting, if you've seen a works cited document, you know that that indent is a little weird, so let's do that right now. You're going to hit your document, hit Control A to highlight everything, and pay attention. You can either right click and go to paragraph, or you go to home and you click the little paragraph option right there. Either way, you get the same menu. We're going to do two things. First, I want you to look under indentation, go to special, and select hanging. Don't do anything else. Don't worry about this. Next, I want you to look at spacing, and we're going to put it in our usual MLA double space. Very important to click this box. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. And we click OK. And you'll see that after the first line, all lines are indented. So speaking of spacing, we do not want extra space in between sources. It's very tempting. We think it makes it look prettier. Oops. But no extra spacing. It just comes right after one another, and you can tell where the entry is based off of where the indents are. So the very next thing you're going to do is go through every individual entry and just make sure everything looks okay. You can reference the OWL at Purdue MLA page just to double check. Don't make sure that you're not just assuming, even if you have gotten your entry from ProQuest or Sears. So for instance, I'm going to draw your attention to the second entry here. Okay, we have our first title of our web page here. Titles of web pages go in quotation marks. So immediately I have to fix that. MLA titles also capitalize the major words, and you'll notice that Moderna and vaccine are not capitalized. So I have to go in and I am responsible for fixing that. Please also notice that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is the website as noticed here, cdc.gov, that the web page is from, is not in italics as large titles need to be. And when I say large titles, I'm referring to titles of larger sources, such as the entire website. Highlight that and make sure it's italics. And then from then on, you would check everything to make sure everything is okay. So that is it for our tutorial on MLA Works Cited on using Microsoft Word. Please go see the Writing Center if you have any additional questions. A collaborator is more than happy to help you do this and work together.